Welcome to the COMC Community Spotlight Show. It's presented by the great folks at Central Ozarks Medical Center, where your health is their mission. And we've got some very special folks back with us on the show. They were with us a couple of months ago. So many amazing family stories that we had to have them back. And we'll probably do several more of these shows. Just for the folks that don't know, the Koplar-Brown family helped develop the Lake of the Ozarks, really. Your dad, Harold, purchased the land, built the lodge at the Four Seasons, and then purchased more land from the Wilmore family, 7,200 acres, I believe. It turned out to be what is now Horseshoe Bend and Shawnee Bend and Portachima. I mean, it's huge what your family has done for the lake. So some great stories here. Susan, your dad, Harold, HK, didn't like his name Harold, I guess, huh? So he went by HK, very famous. He had to be a very business-driven guy. What kind of a dad was he? Was he a good dad?
Oh, he was a terrific dad. More fun, and just to watch him work. And he would take my brothers and I to work, and he started us early and gave us things that would relate to what we wanted to do.
Wow.
And support us in that. And so it was really fun watching him. But he was a normal guy.
Yeah.
He was a real dad. And
that is so.
What's so neat, he liked to be around creative people.
Because he was one himself.
And he was one himself.
Right. It's so good to hear, because a lot of times very successful business-driven people are not good parents because they get caught up in the business and they kind of forget the family. Your dad wasn't like that. He was a good dad too. That is very cool. So he started building the Four Seasons, the lodge at the Four Seasons, in the early 60s. And I guess a friend of his came to him and kind of introduced the idea of building at the Lake of the Ozarks. Is that how it kind of all started?
Well, his friend was Mayor Cervantes.
Okay.
Cervantes, they're very close. And Mayor Cervantes had a house in the point of Black Hawk Estates.
Oh, so he had a house here.
Okay. He had a vacation home. So he invited us to come down, and we stayed at Malibu Shores in Osage Beach in a little fishing resort.
Wow.
And it was really nice. So he invited us over. And then when he got out on the deck, he said to Harold, look over at this point over here would be a great place to build a resort. He wanted to do like the Greenbrier, kind of an exclusive resort.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's how they all started, was from the deck of the house on the point of Black Hawk.
That? Were you there for that? Or did you go down that first time when...
We went down when he did,
Mayor Cervantes, who was one of the original investors, I think.
Right. Stan Musial, Joe Garagio, the governor of Missouri.
They all jumped in on this.
They all jumped in.
Wow. You talk about some big friends, some big help there. So your dad, Harold, HK, starts building lodge in 1962, started with the Black Hawk Estates, I guess, and then the lodge at Four Seasons, all on 100 acres. So it was just forest and rocks and hills.
A lot of rock.
Live rock?
No, a lot of rock.
Oh, a lot of rock, yeah. And Missouri, as they say, grows rocks, right? I mean, it just seems to keep coming up out of the ground.
Well, what's neat about it, when they built the lodge, they used a lot of the rock that was in the area. If you walk in, the floors are all natural field stone, and they've got the wood beams. You couldn't reproduce the lodge today.
Couldn't do it.
And it's amazing that they did that.
And I think in reading the stories of how they built the dam, they kind of did the same thing. They used the local rock, quarried that and everything for the dam too, I think. So that's pretty amazing. And you mentioned some of the very famous first investors in the lodge, to help get things started. Stan Musial, the St. Louis Cardinal Hall of Fame great.
Right.
Did you ever get to meet him?
Yes.
Nice guy?
Nice guy.
Wow, that's cool. Joe Garagiola, another
nice
great
guy.
Baseball great. I've actually had the chance to talk to Garagiola, really nice guy. And his best friend was Yogi Berra, and I think they grew up in St. Louis, didn't they?
Yes, my dad used to play cards on Sunday.
Really?
And then at the house with Joe Garagiola and a couple of others.
It's like amazing. When you're growing up in this with, here's Stan Musial, here's Joe Garagiola, here's the governor, here's the mayor. was that was just normal for you, right?
Right.
Did you know how special that was when you were growing up?
No, not really.
No.
No, because Dad raised us to be normal.
Right, yeah.
And to really appreciate things.
Yeah.
And so nobody was better than anybody else, but they were special people.
Yeah.
But they were great people.
They were nice folks, absolutely. By the way, if you're interested in reading some of these stories, they have a book. It's called Dreams Realized, and you can buy it. And there you got a ton of pictures in here with all of these people that we're talking with. So it's pretty special. And you guys, when you first got together in the early years, the young years and everything like that, it's pretty amazing. I loved reading that book. So we're going to talk more about all of this, the Koplar-Brown family and the development of the Lake of the Ozarks, when we come back on the COMC Community Spotlight Show. At COMC, your health is our mission. Central Ozarks Medical Center offers 3 OBGYNs at the Osage Beach Clinic and 2 pediatricians with same-day appointments available. At COMC, our doors are open to everyone with 5 primary care locations conveniently located across the Ozarks. COMC for the best medical, dental, and behavioral health care. Get more info on how COMC can help you at centralozarks.org. COMC, where your health is our mission. Welcome back to the COMC Community Spotlight Show. We're talking with Peter and Susan K. Brown. Koplar-Brown family helped develop the Lake of the Ozarks, what we know as the lake today. Your dad built the Lodge of the Four Seasons. That kind of started it all here. If you go back and you read the book, read the stories about how it all went down and everything, it wasn't all glamour. People tend to think of the Koplar-Brown family as, just having it all easy and never any struggles. That was not the case at all. When you guys built the lodge in the early years, it was a struggle, right?
Correct.
What do you remember about that?
I don't know, there's just a lot of struggles,
Yeah.
but with the struggles come the good times too.
That's true. You remember it a little more.
And that's one thing Dad always taught us, and I always remember the one thing I remember the most about my dad, even with the Chase Hotel when they had struggles making payroll.
Yeah.
Because and that's one thing you learn, no business is easy.
Yeah.
You've just got to keep at it. And one night they had trouble making payroll. And then we were talking later and I said, how do you do it? Handle this. And he said, there's nothing you can do about it. You go to bed at night and you wake up in the morning, there'll be an answer.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty
And I
amazing.
always remember that.
People don't see that, though. They just see the end result of the huge success. They didn't see all the blood, sweat, and tears
Right.
in the beginning. So the lodge opened in June of 1964, just to give you a little timeline there. It was not finished when Harold opened it, right? You were still working on it, but I'm guessing he felt the pressure to get it open because you have to start making a little revenue, right? And the 3 Koplar kids, you and your 2 brothers, were put right to work. Correct. What kind of jobs did you do those early years at the lodge?
Well, I worked front desk.
Yeah.
I worked as a cocktail server.
Okay.
I worked in the gift shop. So I did like 3 jobs in a day.
You were working, running around.
My mother helped when they had trouble with the dishwashing.
Yeah.
She'd go back and wash the dishes.
Right.
But when we opened the lodge, the Toledo room was half open.
Yeah.
So one half of the room was by candlelight. The other half was with construction helmets.
Oh, wow.
And everything. And then Dad was trying to get the lobby bar open the day before. There's a worker that came in to lay the wood. And Dad said to him, you've got to get this done. I got to open tomorrow. And he said, you may have to open tomorrow, but I don't have to open. And he picked up his tools and walked out.
Really?
And that's one thing Dad learned about the people down here. They're great people. All you've got, treat them well. And, you don't.
We even had lake time back then, right? And that's one thing I had to learn when I moved from Dallas to the lake is that people don't show up necessarily exactly when you want them to. We're on lake time. After I catch my fish, I'll be there or something, right? So I'm sure that was even more so in the early days,
Right.
probably. But your dad seemed to take it in stride and handle it pretty well.
he was a great example of that.
Yeah.
He was a great example of business. He was a true entrepreneur. He liked to get in businesses he knew nothing about.
Yeah.
And he'd make them successful. It may take 4 or 5 years, but they'd be successful. Like he had Channel 11 in St. Louis.
Yeah, KPLR in St. Louis. Very famous TV broadcast. And I think your brother ran that
He did.
for many years and made it very successful. Another thing about your dad that you probably worked with him on, Peter, was some of the promotions. I was reading in your book about some of the promotional ideas that these guys came up with. You had a lot of big Hollywood names, you know, the Rat Pack and Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and all those people, but you also had Vogue models show up at the Four Seasons to do a big photo shoot. I'm sure that was a popular time for the guys. Brahma Bulls running through there. I mean, you're going from Hollywood stars to Vogue models to Brahma Bulls
To wrestling in the woods.
to wrestling and boxing and all of that stuff. It was HK. Was your dad always thinking about this stuff?
Constantly.
Oh yeah. He's like, how can I get people in here, right?
Well, it's funny, even with starting the TV station,
Yeah.
the reason he started, and my nephews never knew this till I told them, he had pneumonia and he was sick in bed. And so he had built in his bedroom, in the wall, across from the bed, a TV in the wall.
Yeah, which was rare back then.
Rare, they were always on the floor.
Yeah.
Floor models. And he was so watching I Love Lucy and shows like that. He started his own TV. He was the first independent TV station in St. Louis.
Wow. And in his mind, in your dad's mind, he's thinking, well, I can use that TV station to promote
Exactly.
the hotels.
He never did anything for one reason. It's always something else.
That must have been fun working with him, Peter, to kind of chew over some of these ideas and like.
He was an amazing individual and very challenging because he would come up with an idea and he'd say, boy, that's a little bit
What
off
are you
the
talking
wall. What
about?"
are you talking about? But the classic was, of course, the wrestling in the woods.
Okay, so what happened with the wrestling in the woods?
Actually, at the hotel, they used to have a Sunday show that was broadcast, and it was Wrestling at the Chase.
Right.
And it was on all the cable networks. In those days, all of the smaller communities and so forth, particularly in rural areas, had cable TV in the homes and so forth. So it became a very popular show with the Wrestling in the Wood. And the fellow who was the promoter of it was a guy by the name of Sam Muchnick.
Right. Yeah.
And so Harold came to Sam one day. In fact, I was in the meeting in Harold's office in St. Louis, and Sam came in. He said to Sam, Sam, why don't we do something? Can we do some kind of a promotion with the wrestling down at the lodge?
Yeah.
And I thought, uh-oh. And so we did it, and it was about 95 degrees and about 90% humidity, and we had the mats and everything there, and we had all the top wrestlers at the time, and so, you know, he was sure that we were going to get overcrowded, and he said, you better call the state and tell them that we're doing this promotion and we expect a lot of cars, so we need extra protection from the highway patrol.
Right.
And so I called the highway patrol and I got somebody on the phone and I said, we're throwing this, and he said, what are you're throwing a wrestling match? And I said, yes, that's what. And he said, you expect a lot of cars? He said, yes. He says, you call us if you have a problem, we'll get somebody there. And it did turn out we got about 100 people there, but it wasn't, 3,000 or anything like that.
It wasn't the crush you were worried about. All of these ideas, it's amazing when you hear the inside story. Okay, so we've got so many more stories to talk about, so we'll have Peter and Susan back on with us in the future to talk about more of how their family helped develop the lake from the very beginning, from the Lodge at the Four Seasons to Port Achima and so much more. So thank you for joining us for this edition of the COMC Community Spotlight Show.